Now, what I want you to do here is look at putting them into zones, and that's into day zones, like Monday to Friday zones. And this is where it's going to be different colors so that you know, like, for example, you know, when you go into an estate agent's, right, you see a massive map, don't you, on their wall of the location where they actually cover. Then you really should be doing the same thing. Even as a business owner or as a new business owner, you should have a map on your wall of your location, a big map where everyone can see, or where you've got it in your office, for example, and then get color coded pins to go on those maps of the areas that you're covering Monday to Friday calls zones, for example. Okay, and this is what this spreadsheet is all about. Okay, so I've got my list here. I'm going to go to the tab here on my Excel sheet, and there's a plus button. Now you can do this as I'm talking to you as well. Okay, this is what this web class is about. It's interactive. I want you to take action and practice what I'm showing you here. So you press the plus tab. It's a blank sheet. It says sheet 1. So I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Monday zone. And it's going to be blue zone, for example. Then I'm going to go to my data sheet, and I'm going to highlight all of it, and I'm going to color code this, or oops, something was in the way there. Just open this up again. So I'm going to color code this. So I would go down to say 150, 200, but I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. I'm going to color code this blue. And then I'm going to just make sure you can all see what I'm looking at. Yes, you can. Good. I'm then going to cut. And I'm going to paste this into the tab, the new tab that I've called and renamed Blue Zone. So that's the calls that I'll be making on Monday, for example, to all the care homes. I'll even create a cell, a section where for comments, so that I can keep abreast with things as well. Then I'm going to go to the next section, and I'm then going to color code this as well. Just going to go all the way down, say to 150. I hope everyone's watching and learning. Then you should be able to do it for yourself. And I'm now going to create this, make it yellow zone. And this is going to be Tuesday. So I'm going to cut. I'm going to create the plus sign. I'm going to rename this, and I'm going to call it Tuesday. And it's going to be the yellow zone. So I've created that tab, and then I'm going to paste Tuesday, and I've got the yellow zone here. Then I'm going to go back to the database that I've got from the care homes, and I'll go to the next section, and then I'll rinse and repeat. Just keep doing the same until it's all gone. Depends how much time you've got on your hands, but you can do, in all honesty, you can do 200 calls within 2 hours. Seriously, that's how you will get once you get faster. But there's no reason why you can't do 200 hours within a couple of hours, because I've done it, and even my granddaughter can do it as well. So I'm just going to highlight this, and this will be, I'm going to go for red, and then I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to create another tab, And this is going to be my Wednesday. And I'll just paste it in here. So I've got my red. So I'm doing Monday, Friday. So you would do all of that till it's all gone. So you look at dividing this Monday to Friday. Sometimes you may, it depends where you are. Sometimes you may not get, 2073 results, for example. Okay. So that's how you build a database. I'm just going to go back to my slide. So you built your database, you need to call the care home, for example. And then you also need to keep calling. You've got to do multiple different things in order to create the traction so that you get contracts. You can't just be fixed in one area and expect to get work coming to you. And you can't expect just because you got your business set up or just because you registered with CQC that the work's going to just drop in your lap. That's not going to happen. You have to make that work. And I know some of you are working 9 to 5 and you're looking at approaching organizations during working hours, because that is when the care manager is there, for example, in care homes I'm referring to. So the best times to call care homes, you're not going to call during breakfast time. That is the worst time to ring because they're so busy. They're doing breakfast, medication. They will not entertain you. So you need to use the quiet times, i.e., for example, 11 to, it depends what time they have lunch, but 11 till 1 o'clock, for example. And then again, 2 till 4, for example. Okay. When you're doing visits, you go and visit them. You could look at visiting at 10:30 because that's when things start to get a bit quiet. I know it's not always quiet in care home, but things are starting to quiet down because the breakfast has been served, washed and dressed, medication. Everyone's in a more relaxed state. Okay. So look at when you're approaching care homes. And when you approach the care homes, you need to make sure that you are dressed appropriately. No blingy gear, no jeans. Go in a smart, smart trousers, smart shirt, female, smart dress, or a nice skirt with a blouse so that you're looking professional. I used to wear a suit. Literally, I used to wear a suit. I used to wear a black suit with a white shirt and some black nice shoes, for example. I'd have a briefcase or I'd have my file document case with my presentation folder, with my presentation information in the presentation folder. And it's how you dress. It's how you dress. It's how you look to grab people's attention. You want them to be able to want to use you and want to see that you are, a professional service, for example. So just think about that when you're visiting the care homes and you're going to face gatekeepers, it's natural. But, if you are working, then maybe look at emailing the organization instead if you're not able to have time off where you can go and visit, for example, or even make calls or even try and make the calls during your lunch break. I'm not saying to take time away from your employer because, they're employing you and you need to make sure you've got your finances coming in, for example. Okay. Right. So that's how you build a database. Another way that you can look at organizations that are registered with the, where they've got the sponsorship, for example, because they're looking for staff members. So you can look at providing staff members permanently to these organizations, but also there's a view of meeting their short-term needs as well. So there's a list here of healthcare organizations that have got sponsorship that are looking to recruit staff members. You could also look at approaching them to provide them with organizations, organizations, candidates. So give them a call, let them know you've got candidates available and with a view to placing them permanently, but also look at if they've got any short-term needs. Let's go back to my slide. Make sure everyone can see. You need to make sure that when you are emailing organizations that you do a proper introductory of your services. You know, you don't just send your presentation pack. You've got to think about what wording that you're going to say, and it could be in the form that I'm writing to introduce our services, for example, the company name and where you're located and what services do you do. And then you would attach a presentation pack, for example. And that you will say that, you know, if that's okay with you, I'll be following up with a call, a phone call, for example. Or maybe you could say, if you know of anyone that would benefit from our services, please do pass on our details, for example. Okay. So looking at how you present yourself to potential clients is key. Okay. There's the email introduction, but there's also your presentation pack as well. And also, what is your telephone script going to be? So what documentation do you need? Some of the documentation is here. You need to have terms of business in place. You'll need an operations manual. You'll need a mission and a vision statement. You'll need a business plan, for example, because you need to know how much money you're going to earn in your business in order for it to be viable as well. You'll also need insurance. And this is one organization that does insurance. It's called jmginsurance.co.uk. You'll need to ensure that you've got the relevant cover, which is 5 million, for example. Sometimes the contract may say 2 million, but I've always gone with 5 million because you never know what contract you're going to be applying for. And my insurance was also that I applied for was 10 million because I wanted to be a premium supplier as well. Okay, so you need to think about employer's liability, professional indemnity, and public liability. Although you may have nurses that have got professional indemnity, you still need to have that even though you are an organization, because you are supplying staff under your organization's